Hello teachers, we're starting our new volume 2 for this semester, and we are starting with Unit 4 Session 1 titled God Called Moses. And because we finished at the book of Genesis last semester, we are starting with the book of Exodus. And last Sunday we reviewed the book of Genesis, so that's something you may want to touch up on and see how much they remember. But as you may be familiar, or if you are the first time teaching the Gospel Project, please refer to the video and the Google Doc that I shared last week, and it will have all the necessary information for you. But here are the four most important parts for our lesson. The key passage, which we will sing over. Tiffany will lead us with the song. We will be using the preschool version of the song, not the kids version. So it's not, if you're using the kids ministry grid, at the bottom there is a music video, but that's not the one that we'll be using. It's the preschool version. And we are using the Christian Standard Bible version for the translation. The big picture question: why does sin separate us from God? Because He is holy, sin has broken our relationship with God. Our passage today really ties in well, especially with the whole burning bush illustration. So God is like fire. His light draws us to Him, and His warmth sustains our lives. But there is a point when we get too close that it burns and purifies. So sin has broken our relationship with God. We can't cross that line because He will burn us up in His holiness. But not only has our sin broken our relationship with God, it broke our relationship with one another and with creation. Our passage shows that the Israelites were put as slaves, and there is disease and natural disasters that will come as a plague, but that happened all the time around the world. And so Jesus came to free us and reconcile us to all these three relationships, and most importantly with God. Jesus was burned for us to give us access to the holiness of God. We are now fire. We are the unburning bush to the world around us. We are holy and we have been purified, and we want to spread this light to everyone around us. And Moses is being called to that. And if you look at the story point, it says God called Moses and promised to help him. And obviously this isn't telling a story about where we make plans and God helps us, but God made the plan of rescuing Israel and His people for the purpose of His glory and for the salvation of all nations. And as God calls Moses to take part in that, God is promising to help him. And the same is for us, as we are witnesses for God, for what Jesus did for us so that we could have access to the holy God. God promises to help us. So that is the Christ connection. God saw His people suffering as slaves in Egypt and sent Moses to rescue them. We all suffer as slaves to sin, and God sent Jesus to rescue us by dying and rising again. And now we are sent, just like Moses was sent, like Jesus was sent, to reconcile people enslaved to sin and to share the message of salvation to them. Gospel Project for the story point says, we will learn that God called Moses to a difficult task, but God would show His power through Moses and display His glory. We always make mistakes or make excuses for ourselves about why we can't live out the calling that God has given us. And we see in Exodus 3 that Moses makes a lot of mistakes or excuses. But God is patient with him, and He sends him a helper named Aaron to do the speaking. But God sends us a helper too, the Holy Spirit, to help us and to empower us to live out our calling. And I took this excerpt from the older kids curriculum, but in each of our curriculums there will be the big picture question and answer section, and it will help us describe what holiness of God is and why sinners can't approach Him. That is something that you can focus on. So these 4 things. Our goal for each class is for them to be able to recite the key passage with memory, to be able to answer the big picture question and answer, to know how Christ connects to this Old Testament story, and to be able to understand the story point that God called Moses and promised to help him for God's glory.